Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be making a pizza using this Carr's flour. I'm sure you'll agree that the results you've just seen there look pretty good, and the flour itself was pretty amazing as well. So this flour is made in Scotland and the protein levels are 12.1%. So without any further hesitation, let's get on with our flour review. And as always, we need 665 grams of water. Just adding that in there, just make sure it's nice and warm. And we need 1 gram of instant yeast, and we need to mix those together and just making sure we get all that yeast incorporated into the water. So once we're happy that's there, so we need to put in our flour. So just adding that in nice and gently, probably about a quarter of the bag to go in first off, and then we need to mix those together. And one thing you'll notice straight away is it went in nice and smooth, not too much lumping in there already, so it's going to be nice and easy to work with when we start to mix it by hand. We're not going to have any lumps to knock out of there. So just adding a little bit more flour in, and what you have to here is just wanting to build up gluten levels, and you're just wanting to make sure that you're not adding too much flour and you're getting it all in the mixing bowl and not all over the sides and everything. So what we use here is a nice clear mixing bowl. So as it's always annoying when that happens. So in with the flour, a bit more now. And just whilst we're doing that, as always, thank you very much to everybody who's taken the time to subscribe and to add some questions on there and liking the videos. It's all really appreciated. And now we're just coming up to 2,500 subscribers. It's really is taking off the channel. So if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you're going to be joining us in our community. So just adding the flour onto the work surface. There we go, that looks great. And what we'll do next is we'll bring over the bowl and we'll start to pour out the dough mix out of the mixing bowl. Now just scraping all that out there. And a little tip that we've shown before, rather than using a dough scraper or anything like that, if you just add the flour with the rest of it into the bowl, and you can just have a good scrape around, and what that'll do does two things. One, you can get all the excess dough out, and two, you've got a pre-floured mixing bowl for when we need to put the big dough mix back in the bowl. So we need to mix and knead all that for around about 10 minutes. And as you can see, quite a bit sticky to my hands. Now, if this does happen to you and you get that stick into your hands, and I know a lot of people don't like the dough sticking to their hands, that's why they use a standard mixer. What I always tend to find is if you use a bit of that flour on the work surface and just rub your hands together, it does kind of like ball together on your fingers, and it'll come off a lot easier than just trying to work it off normally. So there you go, just a little dab in the flour, rubbing them together like you would wash your hands, and it all comes off very nicely. So back on with the kneading, and this flour, hardly any sticking at all, and we had a slightly higher hydration, so 65% on this one, and it really did take it really nicely. So as you can see now, we're going to now start to add in 20 grams of salt. So we just add that in gradually. Now, a bit of a break off from what we normally do. I'm not leaving it for an hour to rest or so. So I know this is a fresh can of yeast, so we're all good. And again, just adding that a bit more, that's the rest of the salt in, and folding that in. And what we need to do next is just making sure that all that salt's mixed in thoroughly, and you'll be able to feel it in the fingers, in the dough. And once you can't feel them grains of salt, you know it's ready to go. So just a couple of taps on the work surface just to stop any sticking. And what we'll do next with the blade of hands, we'll start to make that big dough ball, that big mass, ready to put back in the mixing bowl, ready for its room temperature proving. So pop that in there, pop on the shower cap. Got a clear one this time, the red one broke unfortunately. So all at room temperature. This is what it looks like before, and this is what it looks like after 19 hours. So the next little job is to create those pizza balls, but before we do that, let's have a look at what we've got underneath the shower cap. So just taking that bit of excess dough off there, and a couple of bubbles on top. That looks good to me. So let's open it up. Let's do the strength test. That looks very, very strong. It's not tearing at all now at this stage, so we're going to get some good pizza bases out of that. I'll tip the ball up, look at that structure, plenty of gluten development there. Excellent. Really, really happy with that. So just putting a bit of semola flour now onto the work surface, and this will prove how strong this dough is. It was quite tough really to break off, but we're going to be using 230 grams per pizza ball, and just making sure that we're weighing them out. And we'll just pop that onto a bed of semola flour, and there wasn't much sticking at this stage, a little bit to my hands as you can probably see there from the overhead shot, but just making some nice pizza balls, just creating that nice tight compact ball. Final dab in the semola flour, and then it's always essential just put some in the tubs that we use, and that's just to make sure that when it comes to pizza time that they slip straight out. So just rolling that round, and we'll pop that in the tub, and again just put the lid in the semola flour as well, just in case you get a bit sticking to the lid. So there we go. So we're going to let them prove now for 5 hours. Pizza time is coming right up. Okay, pizza time, everybody's favourite of course. So just putting a bed of semola flour there and taking the lid off that tub. Put a little bit on the top of the pizza ball, and let's just see, that slips straight out. So really beneficial for putting the semola flour into the tub as well. So just rolling the dough ball in that bed of flour, popping any air bubbles that we might get throughout, because they will burn in the pizza oven. They'll also burn in your conventional oven as well. So with your tips of your fingers, just working your way around the pizza, making sure that you don't touch the absolute outside, because that's what gives us that nice, light, fluffy crust that everybody's used to in Neapolitan-style pizza. So just letting the pizza base fall between my fingers, and we'll wipe that semola flour away. And it's essential that we do that as well, because when that's in a pizza oven, it will add a bit of a burnt taste if we have too much excess in there, and it's not very nice when you're coming to eat your pizza. So just spinning that round, just getting its circle shape. So what are your favourite toppings? Now this is always something, so please tell us what are yours in the comments. You'll see what's going to come on this pizza very, very shortly. But yeah, do you like the old controversial pineapple? Is there anything unusual that you have on there? Please let us know, because you know we're wanting to expand our pizza game, and we might try some different toppings in the year to come. So on there, we're just putting some jalapenos on, and a bit of grated mozzarella. And next up is some pepperoni. Now we get this pepperoni this time from Sainsbury's. This is Sainsbury's Italian-style pepperoni. And then we're going to put on a little bit of crushed fresh mozzarella as well, and that just adds a little bit extra cheese onto the pizza. So yeah, it's always really interesting. So on to the pizza peel, and let's take that off to the oven. So as always, the pizza oven is at 400 degrees. So we don't put the rock box right up to the top. I just find that it just gets a bit carried away and burning your pizza. So I tend to stick around the 400 mark. Again, if you find using 500 is better, please leave us a comment. Let me know what you think of doing it at 400. So that's what we got so far, and you can just hear that popping and hissing and crackling of all the meat and cheese bubbling away. It really, really is mouth-watering just to watch that being turned now. So this was filmed in January of 2025, so it's quite cold outside. You might see a bit of ice on the decking. So onto the chopping board, let's have a look underneath. That looks good to me. That looks really, really nice. So here we go. Yeah, nice and crispy and soft as well. So let's open it up. Please consider subscribing. It does help the channel as well. And look inside. That looks terrific. Fantastic. It tasted really, really nice. So all that remains to say is thanks for watching, and bye for now.